Hi, it's me again, and lately I'm seeing so many newspaper stories and website articles and discussion threads about the TV license. It's fantastic. This is what we've all been fighting for, me especially for years now. I've been fighting to get this more out in the public and get people talking about it. But one of the things I'm noticing, and I don't know if it's planted by BBC employees, some of them are, they do say they have or do work for the BBC, or their PR agencies, or, it just seems like they're sowing the seed of it being attached to your income as a proper income tax. And that's bad because at the minute we can opt out of paying the TV license as long as we don't want to watch anything as it's being broadcast or use BBC iPlayer and put up with their shitty letters. We can opt out of it. And it's paid by household as well. But if they put it on income tax or they make a special tax called their media tax or something, one, it's going to be a lot more tricky to opt out of it, if at all. And it's not going to be paid per household, it's going to be paid per person. So the BBC are getting even more money to spend on people like Lineker. So like I say, I've been seeing loads of these articles recently, but I dug this one up the other day on Quora, I don't know how you say that. But it's from 2 years ago. So I don't know if this was one of the PR agencies just sowing the seed or people were actually talking about this 2 years ago, but I missed it. Have a look at this with me. Why can't the UK TV licence be paid through income tax? Do you know what? I'm seeing so many stories and things about this exact subject, the TV licence being turned into a mandatory tax on your income, either as part of your national insurance or something, or they're making a brand new media tax, which would be about 80 quid a year. And instead of being paid per household, like the TV licence, which you can also opt out from doing, this will be paid per person on your income. So more income for the BBC. And normally it's like BBC employees or ex-BBC employees or people with ties to the BBC writing these articles. This one is a discussion thread, so let's see what other people have got to say about it, shall we? VHung writes, it could be and it should be. The idea of funding public programming with a separate TV licence came from a time when televisions were expensive and not everyone could afford or justify owning a set. It didn't make sense for the general public to subsidise the wealthy few for the privilege. That is no longer the case and hasn't been for a good 30 or 40 years. Television ownership is no longer expensive, nor in fact necessary as viewing has moved on to blah blah blah. The BBC is an excellent publicly funded broadcaster and well worth what we are paying for it. Public broadcasting in the UK can and should be funded through general taxation, as it is in much of the developed and some of the developing world. Well, I can't agree with a lot of what was said there, to be honest. It's no longer the case and hasn't been for a good 30, 40 years. Television ownership is no longer expensive, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, we needed the TV licence because that was the days before there were advertising. There was no other way to pay for a television service. There wasn't television advertising when the TV licence was started. People started getting their first TV sets on the street and all of that. Now we have advertising and we have subscription models, and people like a subscription model. They don't like, but they put up with advertising because they know it helps pay for the service that they're using. So it's an old-fashioned way of paying for it, and he doesn't really mention that. And he says, can and should be funded through general taxation, as it is in much of the developed or developing world. There's not that many countries. There's a few, but there's not that many that have it as a taxation. Not that many at all. Most countries have scrapped it, or they move it onto a broadband bill, something like that. General taxation, I think it's France, is Germany, general taxation. It might be one of the African nations as well. Not that many. I don't think that's a good argument. When advertising is a thing, why do we need to pay it? Right, what else does it say on here? Jenny James writes, apart from some nature programmes, the BBC is really quite a poor broadcaster. A lot of repeats and some very poor game show. The news is usually left biased rather than impartial, and some of the presenters and execs are paid huge salaries. The Beeb should be subscription or commercial advertising and scrap their local radio and foreign language broadcast. Blimey, well, it sounds like Jenny might have been watching some of my videos. Just a shame that she answered it 2 years ago, really, because that's everything I've been saying and everything a lot of us have been saying, Beeb should be subscription or commercial, scrap their local radio and foreign language broadcast. Yeah, I don't understand why we broadcast in other countries in a foreign language. British Broadcasting Corporation, your focus should be on the British people, not spreading your propaganda around the world. Jonathan answers, because income tax comes directly via the government, undermining BBC political independence, not to mention many people pay none or little income tax. Well, I don't really want to talk too much about BBC political independence on this channel because I don't want to lose it, but I think we all know where I would go with that one, eh? David writes, because not everyone in the UK owns a TV, and that includes me. Why should my taxes pay for someone else to watch TV? We already pay far too much tax in the UK without adding to it. It's high time the BBC found an alternative to the system that's in place now. Yeah, there are people that don't own a TV. I don't think it's massive amounts. But the way the system is at the minute, we can opt out. What we have at the minute might be the lesser of two evils. The grass may not be greener if it gets cancelled, because we can opt out of it. If you don't want to watch live TV, broadcast TV, or use BBC iPlayer, you can opt out of the telly licence. If it's a mandatory tax, yeah, easily opting out of that, if at all. Are you? So, yeah, it might be the lesser of the two evils, what we currently have, I don't like it, but I don't know. Mike answers, because not every household pays taxes, because not everyone has a TV or requires a licence, because some of us will not pay a damn penny to that politically biased and corrupt organisation. Nice work there. Mike, I don't really need to comment on that one at all, do I? I think he's got that covered. Robert answers, because that would open up the spectre of state-controlled media. The licence fee gives the BBC a degree of independence. The BBC is not independent from the British government. It is not. It's written in their charter that at times of great need, or I can't remember the exact wording, they must broadcast anything the government tell them to broadcast. They must. How is that independent? They don't get a choice about what they broadcast. If some government official turns up with a document that says you must mention that on the news tonight, they do have to. It's written in their charter. It is. So I just thought that was interesting, seeing as it's from 2 years ago, before we were really having this big debate that we've had in the last few months, thanks to Nadine. I thought it was interesting that people were talking about it, back then. And maybe this was put out back then by a BBC employee or whatever. I would imagine some of the PR companies that work for TV licensing and the BBC would do something sneaky like that, just to start planting the seed or to gauge public opinion early on. I don't know. But I'll put a link to this below if you want to go take a look at it. And if you're a member of Quora, whatever it's called, maybe you can leave an updated comment on there and bring this thread back to life, eh? So you go and do that, and leave your comments on this video as well. Let me know what you think about it. And I will see you in another video again soon. Thanks for watching.